Have you ever heard that you can use infusible ink on any kind of material if you put it over white glitter vinyl? Well, I've heard that a lot and was a little bit skeptical, so I decided to try it out myself. Stick with me through this video and I'll show you whether or not this is actually true. Okay, I'm going to start us off in Design Space. In the upper right hand corner, click on New Project. And then over here on the left, I'm going to click on Images and search for the word treasure. Basically what I'm trying to find is images or words that I like that I'm going to put on this bag for treasures. So I'm just gonna look through and find what I want. Okay, so for this orangish brown box image, I like the black writing better than the white, and so what I'm going to do is remove it by selecting that cut layer and hitting delete. And then I'm going to resize it so that as I do the next steps, it will be the correct size. Okay, now I'm going to size the word treasure up top here so that it's how I want it to look. And then I'm going to select both layers. I'm going to align it in the center. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom and click on slice so that it cuts the word treasure out of that shape. And then I'm going to delete both layers so that it's see-through. And I duplicated it because I need one layer for infusible ink and one layer for the white vinyl. That's what I'm doing here with this treasure box as well. I'm going to hide all the contours from this because I don't need any cuts made out of it. It's just going to be that white background. I was just making sure that I liked the size in comparison to the orangish layer. And I did, so now I'm changing colors so that I can keep straight which layers are which. I changed that one because the infusible ink that I'm using is kind of a pinkish color. And now I'm going to click on Make It so that I can cut out the white layer. I'm doing it separately because they're different material types and I just want to focus on one at a time. So I'll come back to the treasure chest in a minute. I selected my maker, click on Edit on the pink layer because I need to mirror the image so that the word treasure comes out the right way when we cut it. I clicked on Browse All Materials and now I'm searching glitter iron-on, selecting it and hitting done, and then we can move over to the machine. Here I have all the materials that I'm going to be using for this project. I'm starting with the glitter iron-on, so I'm just moving everything else out of the way, and I am getting this roll open so that I can cut how much I need. I'm using my Cricut portable paper trimmer to cut how much iron-on I need. The reason why I love this portable trimmer so much is because it has that arm you can see at the bottom of the screen that extends out so that I can have a longer measurement, but then it folds up in the trimmer so that it can store smaller. Now that I have that all done, I am going to set the glitter iron-on aside and I'm going to move on to the Cricut Infusible ink. I'm going to be using every color in this pack. I just need to get it cut open. Both sides are sealed, so I'm using my True Control knife from Cricut to cut open that seal. And pulling out this black packaging that is wrapped around the infusible ink. I'm going to cut the end of it open. I don't want to completely cut open that black bag like down the side because I'm going to put the infusible ink back inside it to store it and keep it protected for when I want to use it the next time. In the center is some parchment paper that you just saw me pull out. And now what I'm doing is I'm just looking at all of the different colors and familiarizing myself with exactly what's in the package. I saw on the outside what is in there, but when you pull Infusible ink out, it's not bright and vibrant like it shows on the package. So sometimes you just have to look at it closely to make sure that you are using the right color that you want to be using. Now I'm using my trimmer again to cut my pieces of Infusible ink down to the size that I want them to be. So just bear with me for a minute while I cut each of these pieces. Now that I've got all of my Infusible ink pieces prepped, it's time to move on to cutting the white glitter iron-on. One thing to note with iron-on is you want to put it on the mat shiny side down, because that shiny side is the protectant when you put the heat on it, as well as the backing that you will peel off when it's completely ironed onto your material. Now for Infusible ink, you're going to cut it shiny side down or ink side up, and that shiny side will also be the protectant, but that's why you mirror the image so that it reads correctly. Now that everything for my project has been cut, I'm going to weed everything. Weeding is removing the excess pieces that you won't be using or transferring onto your project. Infusible ink, vinyl, and iron-on weed differently. Infusible ink is stiff and it's kind of crackly, and you want to bend it a little bit to pull pieces out. You can do it almost exclusively by hand. I've rarely needed to use my weeding tool with Infusible ink. You can also rip it if need be. Iron-on vinyl isn't sticky. The clear backing is sticky, but not the actual vinyl itself. So you can easily pull it off with your hands too, and then the smaller pieces, you'll use your weeding tool. Regular vinyl is sticky, and so it is a little bit more difficult to try and use your hands to do. I almost exclusively use my weeding tool when I'm weeding vinyl. With the light pink and the brown wood-like Infusible ink, I had to do a little bit of cut and pasting, so to speak. You can see me doing that here. That brown layer, it cut out mostly, but it didn't cut entirely, because if you weren't using it with Infusible ink, the idea is that it's giving you guidelines for where to put the other layer. But because I don't want to be stacking two different colors of Infusible ink on top of each other, I'm just completely cutting those areas out. Now that everything is ready to be ironed on to my little sack or bag that I'm going to be using, I'm pulling up the Cricut heat guide. I am selecting that I am using Infusible ink, and then I am selecting cosmetic bag simply because it's the closest thing to what I'm using, even though the material is not the same. And then I'm just going to be following these instructions. So here's my bag. I am starting with the white layer, of course, and I'm going to iron those on. I'm not going to be applying heat for as long as I normally would because I'm going to be putting another layer on and I don't want to end up burning this layer. I learned a trick recently that helps cool down the vinyl quicker, and as you can see, it's using a cold soda can. And now everything peels off really easily. And now I'm ready to add Infusible ink. I don't need to do anything super special. I'm just lining it up with the white glitter iron-on, and then I'm using heat-resistant tape to keep it in place because I don't have enough sticky backing to keep it in place without it. Aside from that, the heat-resistant tape is really great to use anyway, so that you can ensure nothing shifts. Okay, as you can see here, it transferred, but I'm not super happy with how it transferred. I don't feel like the colors are vibrant, it's splotchy. I'm going to try one more time with this top piece and just see if I can't transfer any more ink onto the glitter iron-on. Okay, maybe it's a little bit less splotchy, but I don't feel like a whole lot changed. Here it is after I washed it. Overall, I'm not super happy with how this turned out. The iron-on is really stiff, and I would never put this on a t-shirt or any kind of clothing because it would be incredibly uncomfortable, and I don't like how it looks. For the simple fact that I really wanted this method to work, I decided to do one more experiment. I used regular white iron-on vinyl, no glitter, and tried again. So here I am cutting out the white iron-on vinyl, and I'm just going to put it on a t-shirt that I use for experimentation anyway. It happens to be one of Cricut's Infusible ink t-shirts, and I think it was a good idea to do that so that I could really gauge the vibrancy of the color on the vinyl versus on the t-shirt. You'll see that here in just a minute. You will see here as I weed that the top of the word testing got cut off on the Infusible ink. I didn't really care because this is a test, so I just moved forward with it. I am still doing all the exact same prep work and pressing that I would normally do, because again, I'm trying to really see if this is going to work. So I just preheated the shirt, and now I'm putting on that first layer of the white vinyl. Again, I'm not doing it for the full time that I normally would, so I don't burn it. You can easily peel it off, and now I'm going to put the Infusible ink over top of the white vinyl. I believe I forgot to do this earlier, but here I am putting butcher paper over top of the Infusible ink. That is something that I always do. I just forgot for the first round. I don't think it makes any kind of difference. It's just a protectant for your heat press. Okay, this is the moment of truth. And it hardly worked. You can see on the outside of the tea that it's a lot more vibrant with that brown, and that's what it should all look more like if it had worked. So I'm going to say that this is not a great method. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you have questions, please be sure to comment. See you next time.